Hello, good morning. My name is Bita Sadanandan, and today is the 29th of Jan. Okay, March 2026. Boy, I'm time discoordinated, kind of. And the time of the day is 6:36 a.m. The area of body we will be maintaining health of by the Nirbeeja Yoga style is, well, liver plus spleen. That's the region. These are two regions, two organs below the diaphragm. So this is the first part of the four parts that I have segregated the abdomen into, four bandwidths, so to speak. Kind of. It's not bandwidths. It's just four areas. Now, by my own logic, in the interest of maintaining health. Now, the liver plus spleen forms the first part. Now, I put up my thought arrangement, so to speak, the names of it, the different parts as I have um, discerned would be nice to maintain health by. On my website, www.dynamicstillnesses.com, on the page named Dailies, on which is the calendar for this month, on which for today's date is mentioned abdomen, liver plus spleen, and that's the topic for today. So, an entire day to take care of liver and spleen. Yeah, as it is that. By the Nirbeeja Yoga style. That's movementless yoga. That's a lot of awareness, mindfulness, present moment appreciation, at least, and a whole lot of goodies you've not heard of anywhere else. Or I keep discovering something new. So join me along for what may you discover. What could go into your notes if you're taking notes? Else, the comet flies, and you won't even know what just happened. Somebody who got an idea has a little oh moment that could become an ah moment. But if you're not left with awe, you haven't really gotten it. Now, that would take at least you taking down notes. Maybe it would involve in drawing pictures. Maybe it would involve paying attention to your own body. And I don't know how long that's going to take, but it's a little mm, um, medical necessity analysis, yeah, so to speak. So you can appreciate which are the parts or which are the bits that then has value and which may be less important when compared to the other bits of information. That over time develops your, you know, um, your treasure a lot of thought lines, which then is better thought of. I can't really say rice versus chaff, maybe a little more shiny things, but actual shiny things which you don't even know what that is actually, but is something better to be had in your um, urn, so to speak. You have a lot of ashes of love, and then you have this showing up. You never know what would happen of the ashes of love or life as lived hitherto, and then what's going to then show up, and how your earnings are going to be over time. Now, on those thought lines, I actually said that 29th of March 2026. It seems like I've gone to the past. I'm tending to think 29th of Jan 2026. You never step on the same piece of water twice. And moving between the past and future and present and in different directions, diagnose is also how you improve health. Because we tend to think time is linear, while healing uh, tells when healing and health, it's healed, says we move through different dynamics, different directions before wounds and knots and different tensions relieve before they can come to other than kintsugi, where there are cracks, instead of putting gold dust, and then soldering them together, it comes to seamlessly all fine and neat. So there are several dynamics there. That involves also going to the past and future. And you say, why? I keep thinking in the past, I keep thinking about the future, and we are stressing and straining and not really knowing why. So I'm on 29th of Jan 2026. Something about it need to heal. What happened on 29th Jan? Okay. Now, you don't look into those details. You just appreciate what comes to your attention as you move through time space. Yeah. As you heal the fabric of time space. You never know. Your soul may be dealing with your stuff from several lifetimes that humanity didn't even have to think. They need to think about it. And they're like, I'm in the war zone or I'm in dinosaurian time. You may actually, it's called time space relativity. You may actually be going through your genetic material, your soul material, bio particles. No, nanoparticles, bio particulars, whatever. Yeah, it's a name. You called a planet a star before you discovered it was a planet. So, liver plus spleen. Read two regions, two organs below the diaphragm. Liver is on the right side, pushing kind of, so to speak, the kidneys below, so that the left kidney is slightly above and right kidney is slightly below, because liver is sitting somewhere, kind of having the kidneys a little down, you know, giving a little bit of pressure, I suppose, or having or sitting on the kidneys in such a way that the kidney is pushing the liver up. You know? Quite an interesting push pull. Your siblings, different, yeah, related. Liver, diaphragm, and heart are more close siblings than kidney is with the liver. Um, I think because the kidneys arise from the bottom and then push up against the liver. So it's a little upliftment of the downtrodden. And the liver is sitting on the kidney, sort of. Yeah, and pushing it down, not to up. What a amazing body we have. Lots of movements. And we wonder, why is there tension? Oh, it's jostling for space. Everybody got their own capsule, their own skin. Kidney skin, liver skin, and then maintaining their boundaries. And we're talking about humanity cross boundaries. You only have to study your own body and the body parts, yeah? To cells, tissues, organs, organ system, and you'll discover humanity cross boundaries. They're not going to war against each other. That is, if you're not really taking care of your body. And then they would go into, well, what? Ew. In your universe, when there is a lot of people not taking care of their own bodies, so much of world peace is a little bit at not so, not where it needs to be. Yeah. Because you may be fighting between the internal organs of your own system. All right. So what I'm doing here is bringing about more world peace by paying attention to our own individual bodies with our own known and unknown concepts, no reasons for why we have the health we have, or why we have the quality of life we have, while we are all on the same planet Earth. This is called world peace. I don't know, I think I had to say that. Well, there it is. You never know what happens in a life. Liver and spleen. Harry Potter, the boy who lives. You have a liver here. Now, if you're not having fatty liver, that's more a thing. Do you go beyond alcohol? You don't drink alcohol. Okay, let's de um, enlighten the liver. Yeah, fatty liver is because of heavy stuff. Let's enlighten the liver and the spleen. Now we consider a motorbike has two engines. Yeah, liver and spleen are like two engines. There are other two. You can also consider the two kidneys because they have their own job. Do you see front and back? Liver and spleen in the front, kidneys in the back. Kind of, yeah. But four engines, four-stroke bike. Righty. And you have other details, but let's work on these two. Yeah, because you're in the front. So you're not confused between the front and back. Yeah. Now, regional details. Now, I invite you to bring your attention. No. We are going by the mainframe. This is part of the mainframe. So I invite you to sit in a chair, Abraham Lincoln chair or the teacher's chair, which has an armrest and has a back. And you can keep your your knees at a 90-degree angle, and your feet are not dangling. Your feet can be placed flat on the ground. Teacher's chair. Yeah. And, or at least the school where I went to, they had this kind of a chair. And also the college had this kind of a chair. Yeah, teacher's chair is how I tend to relate to them. Or Abraham Lincoln chair. You have a statue of Abraham Lincoln sitting on a chair, and that is this kind of a chair. Yeah. Now, with your knees at 90-degree angle and feet parallel to your knees, yeah, and your knees being parallel to your hip, so your pelvis is less strained. There is no internal rotation or external rotation of your thigh bone, so your pelvis is more balanced and relaxed. That would give a little bit of anatomical relaxation structure. If there is a little bit of tension strain, I invite you to place your feet far and not exactly, close together. Uh, Place your feet at the distance of your shoulder, and then keep your knees at a 90-degree angle. That'll give your legs less strain. Okay? Feet shoulder width apart, knees 90-degree angle to your feet, and so your hips get a little bit of space when you're sitting. That puts less pressure, and also slowly helps your thigh bones if they are internally rotated or externally rotated. Say you tend to cross your legs when you're sitting often, then the thigh bones slowly regain their natural position, anatomically healthy position. Otherwise, your whole body gets imbalanced. There could be different kinds of tensions because your hips are internally or externally rotated. Yeah. Your thigh bones are internally or externally rotated in relationship with your hips. Now, pelvis. Okay. It's going to take a little bit of while, but it would help bring about a state of a sense of balance in your seated posture. Yeah. With your awareness of your legs, hips, and ankles, in a bettering sense of balance and a feeling of balance. Your lower part of your legs, okay, the lower part of your body would begin to start feeling a little more stable, a little more balanced, a little more able to be than you having the experience of you can't even feel your legs, you don't know what is balance like. It seems like you're standing on shaky ground because your legs are your muscles and bones are very interestingly um, moving, because you've never let your legs rest or never let your legs have a balanced posture because you didn't know it. Now you do. Slowly, slowly, you will begin to have more stability in the lower portion of your body from the seated posture, which is still good. Yeah. Slowly, slowly, you'll discover what is a sense of stability and posture when you're standing, when you're sleeping, when you're walking. Yeah. You need to have a certain balance when you're sleeping. Otherwise, your dreams would be very interesting. You could even get nightmares. And you don't know how your conscious, subconscious, unconscious, supraconscious processes are all related. And you sometimes just don't get the rest you need when you sleep because your legs are not experiencing balance and stability and balanced, I can't say posture. Um, your awareness of your legs are not as balanced as they need to be, at least bones, muscles, anatomically. Now, so much just about posture. Well, it's an interesting day. Now, with this Abraham Lincoln posture, it's so easy to just say that. Oh my God, we have many more such monuments across the globe. It will be easier when we talk about standing posture. We're not going to speak about the Statue of Liberty. We would have other postures. Mahavira, for example. We have the Mahavira. The statue of Mahavira. That'd be nice. Ooh. We're going to have a tour of the world. Yes, you join. Now, Where have I been? What have I been looking at? Little bits of information. And my name is Bita. Lots of bits of information. Now, your liver and spleen. Liver on the right side, spleen on the left side. Spleen is behind the stomach. Yeah, kind of like protector from behind the stomach. Kind of. It took me a while to discover where the spleen is. And I was like, why are you behind the stomach? Yeah, and then behind the spleen is the kidney. Okay, I need to check up the anatomy. I may be wrong, but um, okay, okay, that's my mental image. Yeah, because you discover something new. I had to go to an exhibition in the medical college while I was studying in degree college. While I was studying in, yeah, degree college, that I went on an exhibition from a medical college, and that's where I got to know spleen. I didn't know we have spleen. And I have been a student of biology since high school, no, primary school. I didn't know we have spleen. But people talk about all of these things. Why would I think it's part of the human body? I was just like, like you say A, B, C, D. We got many parts, so rattle out. So there is these different things. Until you kind of connect. The spleen is in your body, behind the stomach, and it has a role to play. Yeah. So you begin to see how are all these parts working in an alive body. Yeah, you're having some bulb-on moments. Some people don't even know they are born from their mother's womb. Yeah, because they have been so dissociated or don't want to think about where they are born from because their birthing experience may have been so difficult. They don't want to think they were born from the mother's womb. Yeah, so yeah, it was a moment for me to talk about that to another person, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm actually connecting some dots and actually having a person be a little more born, yeah, intellectually, conceptually, to where they came from. That was a moment. Yeah, I still, yeah, sometimes keep thinking about it. Similarly, some people don't think of their parents as sexual beings. Yeah, so lots of gaps in our education. No, 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 not about education. It's about what we'd like to think about, what our human body, the seed of life that we are, is ready to have a bulb on moment about. Because you are well enough to go to school, do your stuff, and not have to think about your parents as sexual beings. Yeah. So every seed has its own moment. Yeah, there's a time and space for everything. And now, why are we talking about liver and spleen? Okay, liver related with diaphragm related with heart, spleen related with um I'm in different stages of making those connections. But you know that you're okay with discovering about this now. It took me some years to discover about any of these parts. So you're having a little fast track education. Oh my goodness. And we're all on the same planet, having a body that's human, and all are in different stages of have bits of information. You don't want to have a fast track crash course because these are histories and herstory worth of things you're ready to think about. Some people are like mummies. They are born this side, are having information from past lifetimes, have no idea what they have in this lifetime. Yeah, they kind of like, I can't say living dead, but uh, they are a little dazed, don't know where they are, but a little bit going about their daily activities and motions because it's not time for that seed of life to come alive. Yeah, they're going about their activities. When the environment, the time and space is all conducive enough, then they'll look like, oh, that's not how you do things. Yeah, then you would have some information. Until then, I am attempting to, have a Garden of Eden. Otherwise, we're each kind of surviving. We are doing our stuff. We're eating our food. But when we eat food good enough for the fabric of time space, warm enough that we have humanity cross boundaries, there's different seeds. They think, okay, now it's my time. And then they will come a little more alive and they will bring their cornucopia of values. And then you will have another day, another device gets devised, and we would have one more set of diseases not there. Would that be nice? Now, I'm just tilling the land, so to speak, or intellectual escape. This is kind of like not Armageddon, fail. Just not Big Bang. Yeah, this is just starting a little um new. Yeah, kind of. Life as we knew before, nothing is changing. It's just becoming better. All nice, nice. This is a soft water, like rain from the sky, not asteroids or meteorites. Rain a little bit, and then there is another leaf or a flower or a little root thinking, okay, yeah, time for me to wake up. So a little bit. It's gentle as the rain. It's also called mercy. Mercy also has a me in it. Oh, me just doing my stuff. We also have metabolism. That also has a me. Yeah. Now, liver and spleen. Now, as we become a little more familiar with me, then we'll come to you. That would be so, so, so nice. Now, we're getting the light on from inside, and then we will come to you. Now, enlightenment is also you're getting lighter, lighter, no, less heavy, but also light, light. Your light from inside is like, oh, bulb on, and then the light is more on. And then you slowly warm up to what is you now. Yeah, we will come to that. We will come to that. Mm. You is also can be translated as Y-O-U. Why or what's the reason for being in existence? No. Why, W-H-Y, do I owe you? Okay. And so the relationships you have, too much of information. We'll just stick with me. Yeah, me is also matter plus energy composite. Too much of information. Let's just go with the liver and spleen so we can at least think about why do we need to digest these kinds of information? Yeah, you're just busy digesting food. Why do we need to digest information? Because our human body is designed to digest information, kind of, also, and come up with better weaves, better constructs, better creatives, solutions. Make the world a better place to live in. If you are not making the world a better place to live in, your metabolism needs to get better. Yeah, or rather, your what's going into your body needs to get better because your body is designed to eat few things, certain things, and you're eating something else. So your body then functions differently. Yeah. So I'm kind of turning on the human. So the microparticles which may have gone in, also microplastics which may have gone in, also begins to get digested slowly. So you're not becoming a wax figure, and so that your system is having the ability to discern. This is not exactly human food, but it can be repackaged and then cleansed regularly. Yeah, but well, plastic digestion has its own benefits. Um, Now, you have a few little things to think about metabolism. So the liver and spleen, some of the tension or the stress that a body experiences is also because of how the spleen is experiencing health. The spleen is also the organ that breaks down old red blood cells so that the boils in the blood, for example, or how the hemoglobin is digested, or how life is experienced, the red dot moving all around your body, yeah, collecting information and then making having another, how I wonder what you are, red pill, matrix, red pill, blue pill, red pill. Lots of red pills going all around your body, collecting information, looking at this and that, and moving all these different things, working in different ways. Lots of education happening. And then regularly, you need to also um, uh, metabolize, kind of, so that you're becoming new red pills, going about your snooping about, also paying attention to different details. Because the matrix there's a lot of relationships. If you're only just cookied by old information and not really coming up with new little stuff, then your body is designed to regularly maintain the constructs of stories. because iron then supplies oxygen to different parts. So saying, go, continue working. Yeah. So that RBC gets regularly rejuvenated. Yeah, life cycle of red pills happens in the spleen. And then your immunity, your humanity, or your livability, or the story of your life becomes better by how your spleen is managing stress, because the kidneys are also just around there with adrenal glands maintaining the stress hormones, cortisol, um, medulla. Okay, it's not the medulla. Okay. I am thinking about spleen. I'm not thinking about any other parts of the body. We got lots of information. We are staying with the topic. We're getting to the intents of the matter. It's kind of like surgery right now. Waiting. Surge, electric surge. No. Slow self. No. Spleen also produce monocytes, which then goes also to your brain and tells your brain we have alert. Yeah. Stay alert. You could have problems, or that is if your brain is not really metabolizing stuff enough. In which case, monocytes, whatever is telling the brain, sees it as, oh, threat, now fight. Yeah. Yeah, your brain also has a metabolism. The left side of a brain has different parts of the brain, have different kinds of metabolism. And when the metabolism of that part of your brain is good enough, then when monocytes go and, nudge it, it's not going to alert and fight mode, but instead is, okay, we got new bits of information. Yeah. How is life in the rest of the body where blood moves? Because the blood-brain barrier in the brain. And then information from the blood then informed to the spleen for monocytes, and then monocytes are little messengers talking to other finer departments in the body. For example, certain areas of the brain, which then can process that information. If your brain is all cookied, your skull's not breathing, you don't listen well because you haven't attended Nirbeeja Yoga sessions, and you don't know how to keep your body breathing like an alive being, then your brain, those fine details of your brain, is not functioning well enough to take this information as a bit of information and not see it as a grenade. I'm going to war. Yeah, because there is maybe small bits of information, but big information. Yeah, not like Armageddon. It's just your container needs to become big enough to see the monocytes as bits of information and not something that, oh my God, something happened to my brain. Okay, I'm giving grenades of information. How do you going to handle this? We are working with the liver, and slowly your capacity, one body part at a time, your container will become better enough to handle this information. So if life is not something you have to fight or all the time think of new bits of information. We are dealing with artificial intelligence. Now you're dealing with original human intelligence. What else do we have? You becoming better. You being able to handle the matter better, and you being alive and being able to do healthy, wealthy, wise, ecologically well. That will be some of the nice benefits. Because I think it's time for a lot of seeds to, come a little more, peekaboo. We got light, and you're on Earth. You may be behaving like you're from Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, Neptune, where we need our workforce doing Earth, employed, alive on Earth stuff. So sort of getting our departments a little more warmed up. We've been in a, ice age or frozen state of what in the world? Time for a little bit of humanity cross boundaries. No, you be who you need to be, and then life shows up. I'm just awakening the sun. Sun, Surya Koti Samaprabha. So, that's also called the daylight. Yeah, some places are having snow and ice cap mountains and different desert and many stuff. So time for us to have a little daylight, and springtime and, normal, ordinary, harmonious living. And so I'm turning the suns on a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Now, liver and spleen. I invite you to bring your attention to the region of your trunk, which is, well, let's just say the region of your shoulders, your chest, which includes your ribcage, your abdomen, and pelvis. Okay? Plus or minus limbs. You have limbs, pay attention to your limbs. You don't have limbs, pay attention to your mainframe. Yeah? An alive human body unit has head, neck, shoulder, ribcage, abdomen, pelvis. Yeah? And alive. Basic unit. So much is necessary for being alive. Now, there is a good, nice reason why you have that unit. Some others have limbs, um, different numbers. Yeah, some have 6 fingers on their fingers, on their hands, all with many their own unique purposes. Now, pay attention to your body in terms of warmth. Any sense of warmth anywhere in your body. Now, you pay attention to warmth in one part of your body, it will change after some time because the muscles and different tissues underneath are changing. When they change, the thermodynamics of your body is changing. So you will notice warmth, it's like a glowworm, sometimes on, sometimes off, yeah, and it shows up in different places. So you're at least, your body's at least, well, many glowworms, you know, shiny. All right, a little warm, a little not so warm, yeah. So changing warmth, and then pay attention to any sense of softness. When you can pay attention to warmth, closer, more easily accessible would be any sense of softness. Anywhere about your body. When you can pay attention to softness, now I invite you to bring your attention to the region closer to the lower portion of your rib cage, because that's about where your liver and spleen are. Liver on the right side of your body, spleen to the left, yeah? And notice this part of your body in terms of softness. Because when you pay attention to softness, you're more likely to notice how your body moves. The rib cage is expanding, contracting. Yeah. There are other tissues in your body which also move. For example, your abdomen is moving in a way that is corresponding with the movement of your chest. Not the same movement, because the chest has ribs and lungs, which has a certain rhythm by which they move. Abdomen does not have rib cage and lungs. So the abdomen moves corresponding with the lungs. And actually, if you notice your arms, if you have arms, are moving with the rib cage in a corresponding manner because it's part of the same mechanical unit. Now, when you pay attention to the different kinds of movement that you can pay attention to in the lower portion of your rib cage, continue to pay attention in terms of softness, and you're more likely to know different kinds of movement from just this lower portion of your rib cage. Okay? If you notice any heaviness in the lower portion of your rib cage, inside the that region, that could be your liver, okay? That could be your diaphragm, that could be the transverse colon, yeah, because your intestines may be filled with poop, yeah, and you may not have gone to the restroom yet. So that could also bring about a certain sense of heaviness, if so. Also, if you don't have your intestines moving very well, you're more likely to have poop in the transverse colon. So that could also give rise to that sense of heaviness or content about that region. So you don't know if you're paying attention to your liver or your transverse colon or your diaphragm, but you know you are a little more aware of the lower portion of your rib cage. As in there is this zone here, and then you have your chest above and you have your abdomen below. So there is this a little chock-a-blocky, like you're wearing a belt. Ladies wear a dress and they wear a belt. So your body is having a little belt. Yeah. So that could be a certain sense of, well, you're wearing a dress, but this is, you're dressed up for living. Yeah, your body, you're dressed up for living. Now, um, internal appreciation of the details is not how you would normally dress outside. Yeah, which is why we have neat skin and all that stuff. And then we have clothes which we wear on top of this internal goodies. Yeah, the internal departments. Now, if you notice your breath being a little easy, that would be a certain indication that your production unit, your factory, your body as a production unit, you at least produce stories or different kinds of emotions or hormones and many kinds of things are produced in the body. Your chest department, your lung department is a little more at ease because you're a little more aware of the departments inside your body. Because your body may be functioning without your awareness. And that's like a factory functioning without the CEO or the head of the organization being aware of what's happening inside. Yeah. Not so good for the production unit. But, well, production is happening. You just don't know what's getting produced. Yeah. If your breath tends to feel a little more easy, your life is more, a little more acknowledged, a little more aware that, not working in the blind. Yeah. This is your internal awareness or your factory unit being a little more enlightened or having the presence, the gift of your presence. We've not come to the gift yet. We're not ready for that yet. You're at least looking into, you have a production unit and you may not be as poor as you thought you are. That could also be why your breath is a little more easy. Yeah. If your breath is a little more easy. And then there could be a little more tension inside. That could be because there are other departments who also needs a little more care, a little more attention to, hum bhi kaam kar rahe. We are also doing work. Yeah. Um, that would be like, when you switch on the light in a house, there are many layers of rooms and different rooms need to have their own specific light so that, you can appreciate the details of them. So there'll be like light is on now. It's like me too. Yeah. Here's also, do you see me? Do you see me? So there will be a little bit of a moment, but you slowly get used to it. Why don't we just pay attention to the region of the lower portion of your rib cage? While noticing, yeah, you notice your breath being a little easy. Good for you. Yeah, you're noticing your abdomen being a little soft, or you notice the softness of your abdomen, or your abdomen feels a little softer. Good for you. That your abdomen is moving a little more relaxed, a little more easy. There's a rhythm to it. Good for you. Your life is getting a little more pleasanter. We're going to have one more person who's going to be living a pleasanter life, which means that's one problem less in the world, in the globe. That would be kind of nice. Now, to get there, how much of work it takes. I should get paid for this. Yeah, I'm going to make exercises like this available on my website, learn.dynamicstillnesses.com, and I'm going to put a subscription fee. Yeah, 1,000 rupees per month. That's the price right now, but I've not put that. I have to make that and then put that as part of the subscription. It takes some work. Yeah, I should at least get paid for this. Now, LEARN dot DYNAMICSTILLNESSES .com. Alrighty. Now, if you notice your tendency to just relax back on the chair, yeah, because the front portion of your body is having a little aeration moment, a little um, pleasant air movement, yeah. Your back may need a little rest because we are not working on the kidney yet. We are run by 4-stroke engine. We're talking about two, and we're not really there. We're just more paying attention to where these engines are and how these engines may be related with other parts, or what happens when your engines are a little more paid attention to. You're not even working with the engines. We are still thereabouts. Yeah. I would pause for now. Yeah, we could get a little tired paying attention to. We actually have wellness. Yeah. That you may be more richer than you thought, that you didn't have to stress so much. let's just chill it a bit. Yeah, right? We don't want to get tired being well, knowing how well we are. Yeah. We don't want to get too tired on that one. Yeah, because we want to have good enough so that you can go back, and when you're dealing with your stress of I don't have it and you're dealing with all that, and then every now and then you remember actually, you do have this. So between this tangled and untangled, this movie Rapunzel, where she steps out of the tower and then she has this moment of freedom. And she has yay, and then you go, oh, I'm tangled with yay, and then do oh, I'm tangled. Yeah, you're still dealing with your life the way it is, with the different items, different people, and how you relate with them, while you're still coming to terms with you may be weller than you thought, or you have better than you thought. So it's going to take a little moment. So um, you're going to have tiredness of a different kind. Yeah, you have from the stressors, because the different areas of your life still don't know that you're weller than when you started this session. Yeah, so it's going to be differential tension. So have some water. That'll help you. Room temperature water, because otherwise the hot water or cold water could add additional stress to what you're already dealing with. Yeah. Challenges. Room temperature water helps bring a balance between the hot and cold in your body. So you more come to a warm and cool composition in your body. Yeah, that would be a more pleasanter day. And then have some veggies if you can. Yeah. Cucumbers, tomatoes, greens if you can include, some of them, chickpeas, nuts, seeds. No, nut seeds may be a little tough for you. Let's just say chickpeas, little cereals, soft. You soak them, they soak up so much water, and then you can cook them, or beans, different kinds of beans. That'll help you, because it would kind of involve your liver and your spleen and your tissues in the lower portion of your rib cage to engage with a little more firmer stuff. That's like babies learning to use their teeth. Yeah, a little firm vegetables, soft, not necessarily cooked, soft vegetables. Yeah, and pulses soaked in water, your body getting a little bite into something a little firmer, teething. I can't say teething, but at least getting a feel for some firmer or different kind of food. Yeah, will help you. We are still talking about your engines. We're still not talking about engines. Yeah, you'll be a little more better while you're dealing between your weller and then outside the world. Still don't know you're anywhere. You're better than you were this morning. So eating these vegetables and these soft stuff will little bit balance the equations. Yeah, right. You could try curd if you can handle curd. Try curd. If you're not, don't go into you should be having no. Vegetables, what you can handle, chew on one little one and see how that works with you. A little soaked chickpeas or little beans, or chew. Don't go spooning handfuls. One little bean at a time. See what that does. With test your patience, um, have a few more. You know, not too much. It's just that don't overload your system. It's just that because you're coming to a better state of health, it's going to take its own time. Allow yourself to have that time. You're getting to know between you're weller than you thought you were, and you have life as it is. So you got to kind of slowly you will come to re-examine world, the life you have, and how you've been arranging your table, for example, or your room. It's going to take a little while, but you'll become better. Chew on those veggies every now and then. Drink that room temperature water. Have the little soaked beans every now and then. Yeah, if you can manage that, you'll be in a better place. Now, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been of value to you. Good day. Do consider clicking on that link, because then you would have certain further goodies that you wouldn't otherwise know, because I'm the founder, facilitator, proprietor, and coach. Find little details. Don't want to get mixed up with a lot of stuff, and you'll be like a salad, don't know which way to go. Yeah. Uh, Learn from the original, from the original founder, facilitator, creator, than from somebody else saying things. The order of words may be very much mixed up, and then you could get a little mixed up, tangled, confused. Oh, and then to detangle you from there. Oh my goodness. That would be original from the horse's mouth. Well, okay. Thank you so much for joining me. Good day.